Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about choosing the right model inside of the things that you're working on or you're working with or whatever. So, especially when it comes to OpenClaw, choosing the right model is very, very, very essential. Okay, um, when you're choosing between a Gemini 3.1 Pro, a Claude 4.6, and a GPT 5.2, or even a 5.3 Codex, you are going to get different results from each of them. They're trained on different stuff. They don't have the same methods of, going about things. And it's actually very, very important to choose the right model. So, in terms of pure reasoning, what we went over today was Gemini 3.1 Pro, and that currently is in the lead. So they don't have Opus right here, but I believe Opus was a 68 or something like that. So it's still 10 above that. So Gemini 3.1 Pro is the lead in pure reasoning, but sometimes you don't want the best model in reasoning. Sometimes you want the best model in coding. And the best model in coding right now is, in fact, either Codex or a Claude Opus 4.6. And I know we just saw the benchmarks here where we have terminal coding. Terminal coding, it seems like it's winning. Agentic coding, Opus 4.6 is winning. But in different scenarios, you want to have different models. So specifically when it comes to OpenClaw, you want something that operates in the terminal very good and does very, very good tool calling. And when it comes to that, you are going to want to use a Claude 4.6. Okay. Claude 4.6 is just all around the best model for autonomous agents. Okay. When you want your agent to actually make tool calls and get it right and not come back with an error, because I've been on OpenClaw, like maybe I should open this up now. Um Let me see. Okay, so here's an example. Here's an example. So I was on Gemini 2.5 Flash and I asked it, if we created an account for you on WAP and I made you an admin in the community, can you make forum posts? It said yes, blah blah blah, but it thought we were still talking about make.com because we were making automations in make.com. And so I switched the model. I automatically knew like this is just the model being dumb. So I switched the model to Gemini 3.1 Pro preview and I asked the same thing. If we created an account for you on WAP and I made you an admin, can you make forum posts? It said yes, absolutely. Okay. You can do it this way or you can do it that way. And that's the difference between kind of like a mid-tier model and a high-tier model. But when you're talking about, let me get back to this. When you're talking about a Claude 4.6 versus a Gemini 3.1 Pro, they're both going to be able to make tool calls easily, but they have different feels. In my opinion, Claude sounds more like a human and Gemini 3.1 Pro just sounds like a general assistant, and GPT 5.2 sounds like a stale assistant. Like it just has no personality, especially Codex. Codex has zero personality. So this is what I would do. If you want something that's very creative, if you want something that's very well thought out, I would use Gemini 3.1 Pro. If it's for things like writing articles or proofreading or stuff like that, I would choose that. If you're looking to get stuff done with AI, I would use Claude 4.6, Sonnet, or Opus. Sonnet is very, very good. Sonnet is one of my main models that I use on OpenClaw, but it's great for computer use, automated operations, and cost-effective long context. But when you want to, really back to back have something that is going to just get it done, that's a GPT 5.2. You know, high volume tool calling and repeated context loops with caching, like that's the one that you want to use for that. So as you can tell, the general one is Claude. And if you can't figure out which one to use, then Claude is the way to go. Now, these things have different pricing, okay? So if we go to models on OpenRouter and we go to compare, we can add in these models right here. 3.1 Pro, we have a Claude Opus 4.6, and we have a GPT 5.2. Okay. And if you look at these, they have different costs. So the most expensive one by far is Opus 4.6. And we'll take a look at Sonnet, but that's the most expensive one. It's $5 for 1,000,000 tokens of input and $25 for 1,000,000 tokens of output. So let's say that every single one of your requests to Claude Opus is going to use up at least 200 to 300,000 tokens. That's pretty crazy. It may be, you know, a very small fraction of that is input and a larger fraction is output, but that's going to add up very, very quickly. When you look at a Gemini 3.1, it's about half the cost, a little less than half. And when you see a GPT 5.2, it's even lower, but it has a higher output. And another thing that you want to pay attention to when you're choosing your model is the input modalities. So one thing that OpenClaw does very well is if your model doesn't necessarily have the capabilities to take a specific input, it can create scripts or skills to be able to help it take that input. But if you want something that's just natively, you know, you can give pretty much anything to any of these models. But let me put that as an Anthropic. Put that there. Okay. You know, it's just which ones are meant for that and things of that nature. You have max tokens of 400K for GPT 5.2, but you know, different things you just have to look at. This is something else, the latency. So one thing that you can do is actually test these. So right now, the fastest one is, it looks like honestly, Gemini is going to be the fastest one. Yeah, Gemini is going to be the fastest one, but Opus 4.6 started the fastest. So you can run tests like that inside of OpenRouter. I'll definitely leave that link in the description for you guys. But there's tons of things that you should be looking over when you're picking the right model that you want to go with. And the input price and the output price, they will definitely add up, especially when you're using a 24/7 agent like OpenClaw. So that is it for today's stream. I appreciate everybody for stopping by and liking the stream. We went over Gemini 3.1 Pro, the new model. We went over the new music inside of Gemini. We went over a UI UX overhaul inside of anti-gravity utilizing Google Gemini 3.1 Pro High. And we also looked at DeepSeek doing some illegal stuff. DeepSeek being illegal. But yeah, that's it for the stream, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. Be sure to join the AI Educate AI Lab community. Tons of free resources in there. I have guides, different prompts. So this is a GPT that you can use to get prompts. We have a Telegram multi-agent setup guide that actually works. You know, different stuff that you guys can use to further your AI experiments. We have a chat, we have announcements, and yeah, just be sure to join. It's getting larger. I think we're at 7 members now, so on the way to 10 members and then on the way to 50. But yeah, man, I will see you guys in the next stream. Have a great night It's been great to spend some time with you guys, and yeah, keep learning AI. I'll see you guys.